I have a little bit more to say about urban necessities, so we're going to get into that this time on Fire Footwear. Welcome back to Fire Footwear, everyone. As always, I'm your host, Matt Frates. I am back from vacation last week. We talked about urban necessities, but I did record that right before I went on vacation with my family, and I have to give a huge shout out to my family, more specifically my mom's side of the family. We had a really relaxing, very nourishing vacation. We went to Maine. We explored some places in Massachusetts. I got to take a lot of photographs, which, as you know, if you listen to this, photography is a huge thing for me. I loved it, and I felt very much recharged coming back. But in the time between me recording that episode for last Monday and right now, as I'm doing this on June 29th, there has been a lot of updates as it related to urban necessities. When I listened to the episode and recorded the initial episode, I felt very satisfied. I felt like I've said everything I need to say about this, and I realized that in the week that has passed, the information that has come out, the posts that I've seen, other videos from content creators that I have seen, is maybe I need to make a slight adjustment to what I said. Actually, what I need to do is create an addendum in addition to what I had said before. This whole urban necessity situation to me speaks about resale, and it speaks about something else too. It speaks about social media. Last time I get into the details of why I felt that this was a referendum on resale as it related to sneaker culture. Resale in general has been around for a while. I said that last time. And I don't feel as if resale is necessarily a negative. But what resale has created, and again, we did talk about this last time, but for those who are maybe finding this for the first time, I did talk about the fact that resale has created this for-profit idea that sneakers can provide. That people still purchase sneakers, not because they love it, not because they're actually in the culture, but because it provides them an opportunity to make really high profit margins. And places like Urban Necessities, Flight Club, any other resale shop is trafficking in that 100%. I don't necessarily fault them for that because this is capitalism. So to me, that hasn't really changed. To me, the urban necessities story, any other type of Zeta Kick story, is all related to how resale has reshaped sneaker culture, and it is here to stay. But what has happened since then, to me, has ticked a box in terms of, oh, this is also something else that has reshaped sneaker culture and is here to stay. That is social media. Social media, ironically, is something that all content creators have to traffic in. As a matter of fact, if you don't, you're almost not going to grow at all. I would venture a guess, now I don't know this 100%, but I would venture a guess that any content creator who listens to my show, and we all listen to each other's work, most of us probably have a love-hate relationship with social media as it relates to the content that we are providing. I would assume that many of us have our own personal social media accounts and do some light sharing there and things of this nature, but as it relates to content-specific social media, that becomes more like a job. In sneakers, social media has become very toxic in a lot of ways. And this urban necessity situation, to me, has highlighted some of that. So in the time since I recorded that initial episode, 2J's Kicks, I believe that's his name on Instagram or whatever, he is one who has talked a lot about what has happened with this urban necessity situation. Now, to go back even further, 2J's Kicks, I believe, is one of the people who was at SneakerCon when President Trump was there. He wasn't the president at the time. He is now. And I think a lot of people gave him a lot of flack for that. If that is incorrect, somebody definitely correct me, so I don't want to place that on somebody and place that kind of negativity that followed this person with this person incorrectly, but I'm pretty sure that is the case. And so this person seems to have a cloud of negativity that follows them around. And so when all this urban necessity stuff came up in terms of consignees not getting their money, in terms of customer service lacking, he was one of the first people to talk that was directly related to the situation. And one of the things that he said in I believe it was a 14-minute video, was that his wife had cancer. And then adding to that a little bit later, he talked about the shoe surgeon. That is something that we actually talked about a year ago. If you remember the lawsuit that Nike had, I remember initially cutting an episode about it and not really understanding why Nike was doing that. And Sockjig, who was a listener of the show at one time, probably still is, educated me on the details of it, and I certainly appreciated that. And seeing that there was a settlement recently with the shoe surgeon, and then also seeing 2J's Kicks talking about the shoe surgeon having invested in Urban Necessities and having taken over basically, or taken money from them. And I think the insinuation was that that money was getting filtered into the settlement that the shoe surgeon had with Nike. I don't know that for sure. A lot of information was given via this 14-minute video. The 14-minute video to me highlights one of the reasons why social media can be so toxic. Social media allows us to have a platform. And when I say us, I mean literally everybody who has access to it. A platform in and of itself is not a bad thing. As a matter of fact, there are many people doing really great work with the platforms that they have created. That's the thing, where a platform is not gifted to you. In a way that it is, by social media just existing, you are gifted a platform, but you have to actively go create one. You have to curate that platform, and you have to decide how you want to use it. What kind of a message do you want to send? That is something I take very seriously when it relates to any type of content that I do. I do content here, I do content in other places, and no matter whether it's audio only, video, social media reels, to me, you have a responsibility to be genuine and to be authentic and transparent. The algorithms are unforgiving, and many people create content to try and ride the wave of what the algorithm likes in the moment. Of course, they're also riding what the people like, but the algorithm speaks for the people in terms of what people are clicking on, what people are interacting with, and so forth. As a content creator, to me, it's important that you create content, number one, that you like, number two, that is true to who you are, and number three, doesn't give false information. And that's when I look at this situation with 2J's Kicks and Urban Necessities. Now, both sides have spoken out about things, and each side is giving what I would say is their version of the truth. We don't know what the truth actually is. We don't know all the facts, but we know what they tell us. And that's the way it is on social media a lot. You see a lot of people in your personal life, no doubt, who show you all the best parts of their life. But let's say their marriage is not working out right now, or maybe they're having money issues. Nobody really shows the realness of who they are on social media. I try and do that. I try and be as genuine as possible. Try and let people know, hey, I'm struggling, or I need a break. And to me, I feel like that's endearing, and I think people appreciate that. But the Urban Necessity situation highlights the fact that people can misuse social media to try and get as many people on their side as possible. Everybody has an agenda of some type. Even me, to an extent, I have an agenda in the fact that I would love people to follow me on social media or follow my content or whatever. That's not why I do this, but that is a motivation that people have that are in my position. 2J's Kicks, Urban Necessities, give the information that they give it in the way that they give it, and do so in a way that wants people to believe their side. I don't know what I believe. I said last week that I believe that every company, every business should be transparent with their customers, especially if their money is involved. If you are taking the responsibility of selling somebody's shoes and you owe them money, that money should be paid to them. And if not, there should be a transparency as to why that is not happening. I don't believe that has happened on the customer side of things. I don't believe that Urban Necessities, no matter who it is that's communicating, has actually done so in a professional manner. Now, if you're somebody who tried to have your shoes sold by Urban Necessities and you have received some type of professional reason, some type of letter, anything, let me know. But 2J's Kicks has been doing Instagram Lives. He has been showing up to Urban Necessities brick and mortar shops. He has been saying a lot, including the fact that his wife has cancer or had cancer, including the fact that the shoe surgeon basically stole money from Urban Necessities. Everything that came out of his mouth in that 14-minute video and all of the Instagram Lives, at least that I've seen in that time period, have been very much to make him seem like the victim. And of course, Urban Necessities, to their credit, has come out and tried to say, no, that is not true. That's where I think the toxicity of social media gets really, really murky, because a lot of people have taken sides in this situation. I saw Greg's video that he did from the closet, which I always feel like are some of his best work. And he talked about the fact that the people that are taking sides are crazy. That people want to start Kickstarters for 2J's Kicks to be able to give money to him because they feel bad for him. We don't know anybody. Really, on social media, we don't know anybody. Now, I think that sneaker creators like me, Sockjig, Haas, right? Any of those people. There's a ton of people. I could never name everybody, but I think you all know who you are if you're listening to this. We have done a great job of giving our listeners, viewers, whatever, a real peek into who we are at times. And I think that we've done so in a way that has, at least for me, made it feel authentic and genuine and transparent, and it fostered a deep connection with people. If we're having issues, if we need to take a break, if something is going wrong, I don't see a lot of the people that I know who would actually come out and say anything that would try to get people on their side. I think that we're human. I think that we would take responsibility if we said something incorrectly. For instance, I said something incorrect 2 weeks ago. Somebody called me out on it. I said, damn, I can't believe I got that wrong. We move on. But I think social media has created this, I don't want to call it some paradigm, but I feel like it has created this film over the culture that makes people feel as if they have to live a certain way in this culture. They have to have certain shoes. Their collections have to be of a certain size. They have to participate exactly the same way that everybody else does. The way that they wear their shoes, the fits that they have, the shoes that they go after, the shoes that they're proud of. Social media has created a lot of that. It's created a lot of gatekeeping and toxicity. And in this particular case, it's on display in a way that really, really sucks. Because we don't know what happened with Urban Necessities. I know that customers haven't received money, that much is clear. Why? I have no idea. Is the shoe surgeon really involved? Some people may know. Some people who maybe have sources. I'm not a journalist. I don't know. But I see resale and I see social media and I see the effects that it's had on sneaker culture. It's not going to kill the culture. No way. The culture is stronger than that to me. I think that the relationships that we have all built with each other and fostered through that genuineness, through that authenticity, nothing can break that. But I do think that social media has created almost a pedestal that people feel like they have to live up to. And it makes it easy for people to spread misinformation. It makes it easy for people to have loud, wrong opinions. Being wrong isn't a bad thing, but being loud wrong and never copping to the fact that you're wrong or spreading information that you don't even know is true, not just taking sides, but believing everything that certain people say because they're so loyal to a content creator that they could never believe that they would lie. Social media has created that because these platforms are gifted and a lot of people don't take them seriously. They build them to a certain place and then they forget where they came from. They forget the responsibility that they have to it. And that's what I see here with Urban Necessities. It's not about sneakers to me. It's about human beings. It's about being authentic, being transparent. Whether you're a business, whether you're a person, your personal interactions with each other should always be on the up and up. If I ever get to a point as a creator where you don't feel that that's the case, I want to know. Because to me, it's important that I'm always 100% Matt Frates with you. I'm very open. I'm accessible as a creator. And to me, that's part of the allure. That's part of why I do this. I've met some awesome people. I always shout out the Instagram group because those guys, man, they talk about shoes. We talk about life. And we're always there for each other. We never would have met without social media. And that is one of the positive ways in which social media has shaped the culture. And so if you feel a way about Urban Necessities, if you have had shoes sold there, you've not received payment, you're personal friends with 2J's Kicks, whatever, feel free to have whatever opinion that you want. I'm not here to tell you not to have one. But think about that opinion. Think about it with the information that you have. And think about it in terms of who you are, how you live this culture, and how you want others to live this culture too, because being who you are, being genuine, that's more important than any dollar that gets thrown over because of some shoe. I'd love to know how you feel about all this. You can follow me on Instagram and TikTok at Fire Footwear Pod always. If you're listening here, please make sure to subscribe, rate, review, all that good stuff. Find me on YouTube, Fire Footwear Sneaker Talk. Like, subscribe. You know how all this works. I hope this finds everybody well, fam. I hope this finds everybody safe. And I'll talk to you next time. This is Fire Footwear.